guys, I'm here to talk about how to stop complaining and do something about it. Down to the point. Whether you're the one that complains or you know friends that do this, it can get really annoying. And I just want to go over some of the most common complaints that I constantly hear from friends, family, acquaintances, like random people on the street. There's so many people who complain, and I don't know why. I am not that type of person. If I complain, it's because, okay, maybe it's like I'm hungry. But normally if I don't complain about big things. I end up solving it one way or another. So that's why I want to talk about the actually doing something about it part after. All right, so here we go. People complain. They complain sometimes to mask personal failures. So basically to cover up their own insecurities. I did have a friend who did this a while ago. Probably you know someone who's done this once or twice. But the example I can give is that she was an actress. She didn't really get the part that she wanted, and she would just complain, and to the point where she would really hate on the girl that did get the part. And when I was more blunt than before, I actually went out of my way and I told her, well, she got the part because she did this, this, and this. And I gave her the reason, and that's not what she wanted to hear. She didn't want to solve her complaints. She wanted to just complain. And I understand that this can be a very therapeutic thing and for venting. But after a while, it starts to get really depressing and it doesn't work. It's actually hurtful to keep complaining because you stay stuck in that failure. So that's one reason people complain, is masking that failure. Another thing is dealing with stress or a stressful situation. Of course, who wouldn't complain? A lot of times, a lot of my friends have complained out of jealousy, and it sucks because I only know, I know a lot of people who do this, and who did this, but if they're jealous somebody else has a nice car or a nicer house or whatever it is, it doesn't have to be material. It could be that person's partner. So then they'll complain about their own life or their own sorrow, just to, be like, oh, poor me. I never get, I would never have that. I could never be capable of having that. So it is a way to kind of victimize. They victimize themselves, and, it's a pity party. They're like, oh, woe me. I'm poor me. There's no way I could ever get that. It's funny because everything we do has a function. So people who complain is to actually relieve guilt of not doing things, not doing something about the situation. So they're going to complain instead of doing something about it, because it takes away the guilt. Oh, it's not my fault. It's the world that's against me. I'm the victim here. Look at so-and-so with a nicer car or a nicer job. It's because they got lucky and I didn't. It's not my fault. This logic is very things happen to you, not that you make things happen. And I don't appreciate that. I've never agreed with that. I do feel like we have a certain amount of free will in this life. So we definitely have to own our own actions and take responsibility for our failures. So let's see, another reason people complain. Life feels uncomfortable. Maybe they're just pessimistic. Negative, depressed could be another reason that they might need mental health help. And if so, then please recommend them to see a professional. But again, a big, huge reason is just to get sympathy from others. Why do you complain? Because I know when I complain, it's because I want to be heard. If I can't change my situation, I'll complain to feel better. I think that the way that this works, right, is that we are sometimes seeking validation in our complaints. So if you truly can't do anything about it, like, oh, I just have a terrible boss, he just fired me the other day, blah, 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 because I didn't get his coffee. Well, you had zero control over that. So you're gonna complain about that situation. So you want validation. You complain so you can get that sympathy from people. And, they can tell you, yeah, that's really messed up. That wasn't your fault at all. Poor you, blah, blah, blah. And I think sometimes that is necessary. Sometimes complaining is healthy. And I will say that very few times. So don't take that as a rule. That is the exception to the rule. Because most times, I'm sorry, everyone I've known, girls and guys, friends, they will complain about things that I will say, well, why don't you just do A, B, and C? And then they're like, no, they don't do it. They want to stay stuck in that situation. And I see it more than anything in relationships. So, for example, I'm sure you have that girlfriend that's like, girl, I hate this guy. He never does things for me, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I've had that story I've heard that story since middle school. Okay, it's the oldest story in the book. I feel like maybe even in the Bible, Eve was probably like, fucking Adam didn't pick up, I don't know, milk on the way here. I don't know, but seriously, women complain about men all the time and then they don't leave. And I guess I'm weird because I realized a long time ago that if I'm complaining about a person, it's because I'm not happy with that person. And I think it takes a lot to admit that. So a lot of friends that I've known, they think they're happy because they are scared of being alone. But when it comes down to it, if you are constantly complaining, guess what? You're not happy. I'm sorry to tell you, you're not happy. 99% of the time, you are sad or upset or angry at the guy, at the dude, at your partner or whatever. And you're disappointed. You're disappointed because that's what happens. So I don't know. I would just say stop complaining, do something about it. So how do you break out of that? How do you stop complaining and do something about it? So the first thing is you have to start small. You have to start small, whether this is for you or for your friend, somebody you care about, that they just complain and you want to change that about them. To help them solve their issues and help them take action in their own life, they have to start small, guys. Just like we learn to crawl before we walk. It can be really hard for somebody who's used to complaining their entire life to just change just like that, It's a very difficult habit to break. For example, if you have a friend that always complains that their house is a mess and it's just a disaster, tell them to start small. What's one thing that you could start with that wouldn't take so much effort? So for example, maybe taking out the trash every week. Okay, well, let's make a plan. Find the schedule, find the less busy time that they have, and then be like, well, between 5:30 and 6:30 every Friday, you are going to take out the trash. And that's it. That's it. That's the whole plan. That's the whole follow through. And then they do that for a couple of weeks and they're actually doing something about their dirty house. So it makes them feel better. But it starts small. So you keep building on that. So once they're used to that, they're used to taking out the trash, it's no problem, no big deal, a part of their regular life, then you add on something. Okay, well now let's do the dishes. I don't know. This sounds like a very dirty person, but you get the point. It's just an example of a house. Start small, make a plan, and actually do it. Commit. It doesn't have to be a huge change. It doesn't have to be life-changing. Well, I vow that I'm going to stop dating unavailable men. That doesn't happen overnight. So definitely start with the little things. And eventually you'll start to see how amazing it feels when you take action and you stop complaining and do something about it. That's all, guys. I hope it helped. It was short and sweet this time. happy Friday today. I don't know when you'll watch this, but